So just for the benefit of the people who haven't been following your ordeal, you were accused, I think, in 2017 of sexual harassment or rape, I think it was,
Rape, yeah.
by a few individuals, and you vociferously denied the charges. You argued for your own innocence. You in fact went to France yourself on your own accord to answer any questions that the police had and investigators. And despite that, despite you going there, they locked you up without trial for many months, right, while an investigation was going on. And recently the investigation has cleared you of any crimes being committed. Is that correct?
Yeah, the investigations coming from the criminal brigade, as they call it in France.
It's like the prosecution service?
Exactly, it's the police is searching and investigating all the new facts and evidence are just showing that there is nothing and that they lied and everything. But still the judges are, because it's not a moral case, it's a political setup. And it's clear now that they are just trying to add because they know that there is nothing. Even my lawyer is saying there is Ramadan's affair is over. So that's the point. I know that it's political, but there are many levels. And I wrote a book about the story. And I tackled all the levels. The first and the most important one, the one will remain. The one which will remain is the one which has to do with the spiritual dimension. The teaching here is that what happened. And I wrote about it because I wanted it to be a lesson for myself, because it was a healing process. It's all about shifa. And shifa in Arabic is not only your body, it's everything. In the Quran, shifa it has to do with something which is helping you to get health. And health is a holistic concept in Islam. And what I went through was to come back to the holistic dimension. My heart, my relationship with Allah, my relationship with my own family. And the signals and the signs that you can get that Allah loves you or still is here with you and protecting you is by the reaction of those you love. My wife and my children. The way they were with me and the way that they were so close to me just was something which was a sign that Allah was close by making them close. And my mother, I was in touch with her every day after 2 months where we were cut. So this is the first level. And then there are other lessons which has to do with the prison system and this structural racism that we have, not only in France, by the way, you have it in the States, but you have it in Britain, you have it in Europe.
This is before anything was established against you, to make it clear. So nothing was established, despite that you suffered a great deal.
But they know that.
And you suffered a great deal in solitary confinement and in your court proceedings.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some of what you went through?
So the point here is that I wanted to finish about the third teaching for us is beyond the prison system is the discussion that we had just before about our involvement in this society. In which way are we going to be an added value? So I would say that part of the added value that I can bring to this society is to write a book about, look, this is what is going on now in this society and just unacceptable. So this is the overall teaching. Now, what I experience within in prison is first there is something which is called presumption of innocence. And after I went out of jail, I met here in the suburbs in France, because here we are in Paris, but we're in the Paris suburb here. And I met a guy who told me, you know what, when you are an Arab or when you are a Muslim, when you enter the police station, you are already
presumed guilty.
Yes. But when you are white and rich, you enter and you go out of it and you are innocent. And this is what I experienced. I went to the police and straight away, it was as if I was talking to the media, because the media were connected to this guy who was asking me questions, and straight away it was outside. And so you say, okay, what's that? So I knew from the very beginning that I was a target Why? Because, in fact, not because I'm calling for jihad. Or let's put it that way. I'm calling for political and intellectual and a liberating jihad of all the oppression in this society, which is a peaceful jihad for justice. And I was targeted for that. That was quite clear for me. So the way they treated me the first 2 days, and then when I was in jail, I was sick. Even the doctor in the first prison when I went, he said, that's not possible. You cannot stay here because it was degrading and everything was bad. About I was unable to walk. I was falling and I had headaches and so it was very difficult. And he said, this is not compatible with imprisonment. But his name was Farid. Farid, helping Tariq.
The doctor.
Yeah, the doctor was Farid. So the lawyer of one of the women say, who is this Farid saying that it's not compatible with prison? So they left me in by having someone having a racist statement during the court just to dismiss the point of a doctor, because this doctor was an Arab and a Muslim, helping a Muslim. And it was like this at many levels, with the judges not listening even, all what we were saying, what you mentioned about the criminal brigade or squad and the investigators. They are themselves, they had a mandate from the judges to go for these investigations, and they end up saying the women are lying. And the
They
judges
said that?
don't. Yes, they are lying because we have facts now, and the judges, they don't want to listen.
So the system has been politicized.
It's a political affair. It's not. This is
It's
why.
amazing. We've been convinced that in the West this doesn't happen.
You are kidding. It's everywhere. And I compare the political climate in France today with Islam, with what happened at the time of Dreyfus in France, where anti-Semitism was everywhere. And you had a very important French writer called Émile Zola, who said, he wrote an article saying, you are putting or condemning Dreyfus, not because he is guilty, but because he is Jew. And I'm telling this climate that we had at that time, the end of the 19th century, it's exactly the way you are treating me has nothing to do with facts and evidence. It has to do with the fact that you are dealing with one who you consider as a Muslim leader. And just one thing that I have to add to this is in May 2018, I met with somebody working with the French intelligence. And he met me in 2018, 1 year before this story started. And he told me, we know what you are doing. You are now, because I asked for the French nationality. I asked for the French passport when the French president was saying, there is no way now someone can have two nationalities. He was not talking about being Swiss and French. He was talking about being Algerian and French, Moroccan and French, coming from the south. For them, it would have been quite difficult to deal with me because I'm Swiss. So I'm asking for a second nationality. What are you going to do with me now?
You might be quite a staunch competitor in the presidential elections as well.
And look, the first one who told me this when I went on a mainstream interview on TV, he said, why do you want to become French? Are you running for presidency?
He gave you the idea. You weren't thinking about it.
Did they say it seriously or as mocking or sarcastically?
Because the perception is they were scared of me being involved. So when I met with this guy from the French intelligence, he told me, you want to take the nationality. You are now setting an institute to train the people in France. You have a French platform with all the leaders from the country. And third, you are looking for a big venue to be able to give your lecture, because the problem is that this is the only country in the world when I cannot give a lecture. I have not been in any French university for the last 15 years. It's impossible. I cannot. So
really?
in the UK, because I am a terrorist, because I'm dangerous. So the point here is that you have this intelligence telling me this 1 year before. And some of the intellectuals saying, oh, something is going to happen to Tariq Ramadan. So I knew that something was around, that I was targeted. And this is what happened. Now, my position, now coming back to this, is Alhamdulillah. And I have to thank Allah for bringing me back to the essence of the message. So, and you know, from when I entered, Jalal say, Asa an taqrahu shay'an huwa khayrun lakum. That's the starting point of everything.
Translation for the verse, Salman.
You might detest something and it's good for you. And this was always here in my mind, in my heart and everything. So the spiritual dimension is something that I'm dealing with it now, and it has been a long and very fruitful journey for me from within. And then that's something that it's also part of the teachings that we are talking about. But there is another one, and the other one is get ready. Because if they start with Ramadan because he's visible, they can do this with everyone.
Unscripted.